Live, according to this.
Okay. So it still says setting up your webinar for Facebook Live, but I think it is already live when it does that, which always makes me laugh. Okay. Okay. So hello and welcome to the Transformational Speakers Podcast. I'm your host, Erin Lohman today. That's funny. I'm Erin Lohman today. I have with us Marcia Bench, and Marcia Bench is a manifesting and marketing expert, international speaker, and best-selling 26-time author. Now that is a tongue twister. with more than 25 years of business and marketing experience. She's the creator of the Conscious Client Attraction Blueprint, a certified career coach program, and more. Her books include the forthcoming Conscious Client Attraction, the best-selling Become an Inspirational Thought Leader, and Tao of Entrepreneurship. Funny thing is, I'm creating my book, which is called The Spiritual Thought Leader. So as I said it, I was like, wait, that's not my book. She's the CEO at Conscious Experts Academy and the founder and director of Career Coach Institute. Marcia's education includes a JD from Northwestern School of Law for Lewis and Clark College, a BS in psychology from Western Oregon University, and a master business coach credential. Marcia is active in several national women entrepreneur associations, as she is also a member of eWomen Network. Whoop, whoop. She is a frequent speaker and media guest and lives with her husband and her Havanese dog, Roxy, in Portland, Oregon. Thank you so much, Marcia, for being here.
Thank you, Erin. It's my pleasure to be here.
I am excited because I love what you do, and I'm excited for you to share. So tell our audience a little bit more about how you got to be where you are today and what you do.
Okay. Well, it's sort of a zigzag story, like a lot of us have, I guess. I ended up with a psychology major in college. I was interested in several things, and that was where I landed at the end, but just fascinated with human development. And but that did not get me too far in terms of getting a new career after college with just a bachelor's degree. So I went to work for a larger law firm than I had worked my way through school serving, and thought, yeah, another degree, I could do what those lawyers are doing. I'm teaching them how to file pleadings anyway. So just went back to, which they don't teach that mechanics of that sort of stuff in law school. Went back to school, got my law degree, started practicing. And, it was okay. It was an accomplishment, but it wasn't really my path, as I soon found out. And so I was awakened in the middle of the night with an idea for my first class and book. And knew exactly where to propose it. I went to that person at community college in Portland, and ended up working with them for 14 years doing a class a term, a Saturday class per term in the continuing ed department. And so I migrated from sort of things related to law about women entrepreneurship over into doing what you love for a living. And that just took off like gangbusters, sold out 3 weeks before it was actually set to begin. And so that formed the seeds of what later became When 9 to 5 Isn't Enough. I went on tour with that book, sold everything, and went on tour for 10 months, doing seminars around the U.S. and Canada, and then came back to be on the front page of the living section in the Portland Oregonian. And then what? It's like, okay, the tour's over. Now what am I going to do? So ended up taking a job in San Diego at a career management firm, and worked there for a bit of time until coaching entered my life, and then became a master certified business coach. There was no career coach training program at that time, so I formed the first one, and that's now grown into a company that serves over 50 countries in the world. And so really my passion it started out as helping people find and monetize their purpose in their work. And now I equip career coaches to do that. And my work is primarily monetizing your purpose through your business, and doing it not just through strategy, but also bringing in some of the energetic and esoteric aspects of that are going on anyway, but that we just really need to be more conscious of in order to use them effectively.
I love that, because that's how I live my life. Like I don't ask. I don't even like the universe just brings me what I need, and it's sometimes out of nowhere. And it's because I know I've been pre-enrolling this all along the way and pre-paving it. So for me, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is exciting. It showed up. Oh, look at this. It showed up over here. Out of the woodwork, these things happen, and it's like, no, it's also because I'm also pre-paving all of that all the time with my language and what I'm thinking and how I'm behaving and energetically vibrating to. So I love that.
Exactly. And just a little tweak on that, I guess, that's been one of my learnings this week, even just in one of the books that I'm reading, is that water boils at 212 degrees. If you do everything that's necessary to get it to 211 degrees, you haven't boiled water. And so I know I've had experiences where it seems like I'm doing most of the right things, right? But I'm not doing all of the right things in the right order to the right degree to like get the plane off the ground or get the water to boil. And so just for anyone that might be feeling like, oh yeah, I've heard about that consciousness stuff and it doesn't work for me or whatever, any doubts or skepticism, that's an important principle to remember, that the equation, it is an equation. And so we need to use it that way.
Yeah. So tell me, how do you teach people to, consciously, because you're thinking about this, you're setting the intentions for these things, consciously attract clients?
Well, and that really is the $1 million question, literally, because our mission is to create 10,000 at least six-figure entrepreneurs by the end of 2020. And so the way that we do that doesn't start with, okay, I'll put a post on Facebook. We'll get there, but we've got to back up a few steps. Who are you? Who are you going to be in the marketplace? What is your purpose in life? And, exactly who are you serving and how? Getting into what we call a micro niche, not just a niche. And that way, people really don't have any competition, because one of the 4 components of a micro niche is their story and how they got where they are. So, whether I'm navigating breast cancer, which I've been a survivor for 18 years, I'm grateful to say, whether I'm navigating a business challenge, whether I'm learning how to write a book or teach a class or do a webinar, those are all things that people want to learn how to do. They're things that I can share. And so who is it that's really craving that information that I can serve in that way? And so that's part of it. And then the other part of it is just really getting aligned within yourself with that message and with the price point that you're charging. Not undervaluing yourself, not overvaluing yourself either, but that's really much less of a problem for people, as you know, right?
Especially women. Let's just be clear about that, especially women.
I think I'll charge more than I think I'm worth. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. So learning to not even charge what you're worth. That's actually not what the formula for success. That you want to charge the value of the transformation that you offer. And so when you really get what all you bring to the table and how much of a difference it makes in your clients' lives, not only in the specific area, let's say that I help a business owner or a prospective business owner really create a compelling and irresistible brand, and they're able to build this great business. Like one of my clients attracted 14 clients in 7 weeks. And what are the ripple effects from that? I mean, it gives her financial freedom. It maybe makes her in a better mood when she comes home to her partner at night. She's got more ease in her life. She's got less stress, so her health is better. I mean, all of those things have a value. And when you start thinking about that, it's not just about, I taught her A, B, C, and D. I actually shared a gift that improved her life in a great way. And so it has to start from that, from really having something you totally believe in, you're totally aligned with. And then just like you said, call in the people that are craving it. You don't just sit in your meditation cushion and do that. That's part of it. But you also get out. I mean, you and I just reconnected at a live event about a year ago, and we're willing to get out and travel and do things and speak to groups and different things that make that possible. I won't say make it happen. Make it welcome, as Michael Beckwith says. Don't try to make things happen. Try to make them, or work to make them welcome. So if money is welcome in your life, if clients are welcome in your life, you've got the space, you've got the support, you've got the systems to bring them in. then do the 7 steps of the marketing strategy that we teach. But the strategy alone, you can learn online. You can learn pieces of it anyway. I think it's better to learn the whole recipe from one person myself, because then it's going to look like that front of the box. It's not going to look like something else. But before you get there, really be sure you've got a compelling offer yourself, and that it's what you're here to really share. That makes sense?
Yeah, for sure. I think when people, they're like, this is the things I have to offer, but when there's a misalignment, even in how you feel about your offer, right? Because if you're like, here's the amount I want to charge, here's what I have to offer, and then you say it, and you're sharing all this value, and then all of a sudden your energy goes off, and you're like, and it's $1,000 a month, right? Like that's what happens energetically, and people go, something's out of alignment. You were really confident and then you weren't. And so sometimes
it's not conscious, is it? It's just
no.
like, I don't trust her. I'm not going to buy that. Yep. And I realized that they went through what you just said.
Because they saw it happen and they're like, ooh, what? Confused mind says no. And that's what we do in reaction to that. And so it's really getting an alignment with your package and your offer, and like you said, the bigger picture, the ripple it gets to make. Mm-hmm. When I work with speakers, I get to make a huge ripple effect because I help you craft your talk, craft your message, and help you get on bigger stages, so that I think about each one of those people. When I have my seminar and I have 200 people in the room, I think about each one of them could maybe affect 1,000 to 10,000 people. And if I take that out with 200, that's 2 million people, or it's 200,000 people. It's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is huge. But sure. I don't think we think that far out. So I love that you brought that up. Like, think about how far that ripple, how that affects someone's life is not just it solves this problem, because that problem helps eliminate a lot of other things.
Exactly. And the problem that they came with is maybe not the real problem anyway, right? We know as coaches, it's often, I've got this money problem. Well, no, what you really have is a belief problem. You have an old wound to be healed. You have a self-worth issue, whatever it might be. And so then the money problem just goes away when that has been resolved.
Yeah, because it's the underlying that this might look like the problem, but it's really not. And I have people are hiring me to work on their speaking business, right? And then what happens is all of a sudden their relationships come into my office. And thank God I went to school to be a therapist. I can handle all of it. Mm-hmm. But it's really funny when it's like, well, I haven't even worked on my speaking business. I'm like, yeah, because we had some stuff to clean up in the rest of your life over here so that you had space for it here. And that you wouldn't bring that energy to it. I'm not going to help you build a business with some crappy energy from your relationship. Mm-hmm. So it's always fun to watch, because these things, they all trigger different parts of us.
They do. Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is some of the mistakes people make in their marketing when they're putting their offer out there that's not attracting the right people?
That is a moving target. Especially when it comes to anything online. And even in person, people's attention spans have shrunk so much. We've got IGTV now, we've got all these things that are shifting, every 1 to 7 seconds. And so people are used to that. And then they come to something live and they feel like the world just slowed down sometimes, unless you're able to keep that sort of pace going. And for somebody like myself, I don't know if you're an introvert or not, I am. So it taxes me to be out there, to be up, to be this, entertainer for very long. And I don't really usually put myself out as that. But speaking works great, because I can be on the stage when I'm on the stage, and then I can be with the people or be with myself when I'm off the stage. But I guess I'm on a tangent here. So mistakes people make. One of them, I think, is that you can just keep pounding the same message and expect that people will eventually respond. You got to mix it up today. You need to get creative, and you need to not just get creative in a cutesy way, but really check in with your inner guidance. What is it, and check in with your audience energetically. What is it that they really are struggling with right now? What is it that they really need right now? What is it that they would resonate with right now that I can give them as a gift? And then write your email or your blog post, or do your video from that standpoint. And be a little vulnerable. I mean, I shared a bit of a spiritual shift that I had last Saturday in a Facebook Live that I wouldn't normally go quite that raw, but it was important. I felt like it was important that I shared it. So, short versus long, different angles on the topic. From a tactical standpoint, I think it's just important that we capture people's attention in new and different ways, and that we continue to up our game in that regard. So one of the most important skills that we can learn is copywriting, and really studying what are you responding to right now? What is it that's picking up your attention, whether it's an ad or whether it's a post. And I have a few people that I follow that I really love to read because they touch my heart, and their styles are radically different from each other.
Yeah.
So, and they're even on different continents in one case. So it's, I think that's one thing, is that you can't do the one size fits all any more than you can have a niche and have that work for you. You've got to have a narrower focus, and it really needs to be unique to you. It needs to incorporate who you are. Bring some of your hobbies in, some of your idiosyncrasies, some of the things that people maybe don't know about you. Did you just lose weight? Did you just run a marathon? Did you just go to some sort of a spiritual festival and you really had a breakthrough, or whatever it might be? Those are interesting things. And so we want to work with people that are real and that have a real life outside of the internet. And so, I think my most important value is freedom. And most of the people I work with, that's what they're looking for, is lifestyle freedom and money freedom. And so if you're working 7 days a week and you're in front of your computer all the time, you ain't got it. You just don't. And by the way, I apologize for my backdrop. You got such a gorgeous one there. I just arrived at our temporary housing that we're here in Phoenix for the next 6 weeks. And so I haven't had time to put anything pretty behind me, but we just got here last night. But anyway.
That's okay. We just get to focus on you. So It's all good, right? We keep the focus on you. Okay. I think the other thing is that when you're talking about mixing it up, something that came up to me, this was about a month and a half ago, and I created a whole new lead magnet and training around it, because somebody asked me, Erin, I see you go speak for eWomen, or I see you speak for free at different places. How do you make that work, right? How do you do that when you don't have the funds to do it? Like you're paying forward and not knowing if you're going to actually close something, right?
Right.
And how do you take that risk? I said, well, it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the beginner, because you really need to know that you can close. And if you can close and relate to people and really connect, then you know that even if you sell then or you sell after, you're still going to have the sale eventually. And so what happened was, somebody sent me a little text message, said, hey, Erin, I was thinking about speaking in Colorado, and she lives in Phoenix. And she said, but I don't know how I'm supposed to pay to get there and pay for to stay there and all this stuff. And I said, well, here's what I do. And I walked through this whole thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never really shared that before. And this is huge. A lot of people are speaking for free and don't know how to make money doing it. And I can make you money before you even leave your house to go to that event, so that you can even pay for it if you didn't have the money for it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forget that this stuff that I do that seems second nature is not second nature for my audience. Mm-hmm. And that's where, like, when you say, okay, what does my audience need? It's really like remembering that some of these things that come easy to you don't come easy to other people.
Exactly.
And, and so really checking that, looking at what haven't I shared? When you look at the audience, what is it they need? A lot of people are speaking for free and not getting paid. So I'm like, oh, okay. Because they're all like, well, why would you do it for free? I don't. I get paid even if the organizer doesn't pay me. I still can sell, and I still do really well. And they're like, oh, okay. And so it was like, but this is something I hadn't shared before. So then I created a whole thing around it. So really, I love that you were saying, like, think about your audience, what they need, and then go through your, like, what do you do? What is it that you've done to get results and had good results in it? That's worth money.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It is. And then another big mistake is changing what you're doing too often. So I say mix it up when it comes to your marketing copy, but don't be a life coach this week, a business coach next week, and a career coach the week after that.
Thank you. Amen.
Because it takes time to percolate here, folks.
And have 5 other MLMs that you're doing at the same time.
Oh, right. No,
Yeah.
I forgot those. Yeah.
It's so funny because I'm a squirrel. I'll squirrel out, but I always go, okay, but at the end of the day, who is my audience and what do they need from me? And I think it's really powerful when you stick to one thing, because then people know who to refer to you. I was working on, I did a talk this week for the chamber, and it was all about elevator pitch and your brand and compelling communication. And one of the things I said was, when you tell people what you do and how you do it, you need to be able to have them choose in or choose out if they're your client, or know who to refer to you. If you say, I'm a real estate agent and I want anyone who buys or sells a home in the next year, I throw you in the trash pile in my brain. That's
not a micro niche.
That's everybody. And I got 25 of you somewhere, in my Rolodex.
At least.
When a guy told me, I think it was like 6 years ago, I sell storage unit facilities. No tenants, no toilets, no problems. I still remember that. 6 years later, I know exactly who to refer to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the power of people knowing what you do and doing it well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Totally.
So you have this event coming up. Tell us more about what happens in your events and what kind of teachings you have and that kind of thing. What people are going to get out of those kinds of workshops.
Okay. Yeah. 3 days, November 8th, 9th, and 10th, consciousclientattractionlive.com. And what we're going to be doing is sharing the 8-step model that we use as the Conscious Client Attraction Blueprint. So if you're confused about exactly what you're doing in your business, like we were just talking about, that's step 1. If you're confused about who you do it with, that's step 2. And for each of the 8 parts of this process, there is a chakra connected to it, and there is a law of creation connected to it. And so we're going to be kind of, some of it will be about the strategy. Some of it will be about, is your energy aligned with what you're doing? Some of it will be about charging an, oh my God, price and feeling what that feels like in your body and practicing it with some friends. Some of it will be guest speakers. I brought in some a local semi-celebrity guest speaker that I just interviewed on Facebook last week. And a number of half a dozen or so other people that will be adding to the program. In the evening of the first day, we are doing a gala benefiting Dress for Success, which is near and dear to my heart because of owning Career Coach Institute and really feeling like I want to help women that have had a rough time of it get back into the workplace and be able to be self-sustaining. So that will be a fun time. I love to dress up. And so yeah, it will transform your life and give you a plan to move forward with total congruence and know what your scalable business looks like. Because a lot of people, they've got a plan for, I'm going to get 100 more clients this year, and I'm going to fill up my calendar, and I'm going to be really busy. But there are other ways, there are 4 other business models for coaching that we'll explore that give you that freedom in your lifestyle that we talked about earlier. And it takes actually less work to serve more people and make more money. That's the great news.
Yeah, I think scalability is huge when it comes to one-on-one services, because you cannot be everywhere and you can't serve everyone at that level. I mean, I don't even think, sometimes when my clients come to me, they're like, oh, well, I could take on 20 new one-on-one clients. I'm like, really? Because I know I got a lot of energy, and I got time for my husband. I got to have time for my kids. I got to have time for the fun things in life. Mm-hmm. I would be sitting on a call every day for an hour. I'm like, no, thanks. I'll pass.
Exactly. And I know you were vulnerable enough to share that you have a family member who's in end of life or close to it. I lost my mom in June after 2 years of a series of strokes, and I was in Oregon. She was in California, so I was back and forth tending to her for several months at a time sometimes. And if you've got a one-on-one practice, it's a little hard to be at the bedside of a loved one or to be at the child's play or whatever it might be, and to when those priorities all of a sudden turn upside down. Scalability is not only just nice, it's key, it's critical.
Yeah.
To survival of your business.
Because then you know what's prioritized, like, you know what's more important, you know, and people can wait.
Right.
And so it's important. So I love that. So I love that. I'm going to ask you a question. How the heck do you write 26 books?
You just stick around a long time, you know. I started in 1986 with my first book. When I sold everything and hit the road, it was 89. And so about every year or two, until recently, it's been 5 years since the book on Success by the Numbers, Numerology for Entrepreneurs came out. And so I've just been finding my way to this new message that was right to take out, you know, in a bigger way. And I was dealing with my mom. So, you know, I didn't want to be out on a speaking tour when she could have another incident any day. So I think those 2 years did have put me on sort of a cruise control in my business to an extent. But so last October, actually, we started rolling this brand out with a couple of retreats, and we took a few people through the class as a pilot project in the spring. They will be at the event sharing their stories and the results that they've gotten, and I can't wait to share them with you because they've had some fantastic results. And then I finished my book just after my mom passed, and it'll be out November 1st called Conscious Client Attraction. Really exciting to have a new product, because I didn't have anything I could really be behind and congruent with myself. And all those other books have value and they were their time and place, but like this is me now. So it feels really good.
As you evolve, so do your offers.
It does.
You know,
they do. Mm-hmm.
I even say that with my online course. I add to it all the time because I'm like, ooh, this is something new that I've learned that I need to now put in there. And then I'm like, oh, well, I could create 2.0. But it's also like as you're growing and changing, and if you are like us and you're actually investing in yourself and your growth in your business, then you should be evolving some of your trainings too, because people are coming along with you. Right. You know, they're just a couple steps behind you. And I like what you're saying about the micro niche being about who you are and your story about who you are, right? And how you got there, because I'm a unicorn and I wear unicorn slippers and everybody knows, and everyone buys me unicorn stuff. And it has been, you know, I have unicorns behind me that are coming in. People literally love that. And so as I'm growing, I'm bringing them with me, and I got to up level my own offering so that they don't get stuck at one level.
Right.
You know, because they are my people. They're me a couple steps behind. They're me a couple years ago before I had those answers, before I got that training. And so if you think about when you're creating things, what did you need to know then? What would you love to have known then that you know now that would help you in where you are?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, because I'm seriously like writing this book going, how do I put this in my time frame? Like I have all these things that I have, you know, group coaching this day and one-on-one coaching and seminars and workshops. And I'm like, where do I fit my book in?
The answer for me was 6 a.m. when I wrote the first one. I had 2 businesses I was running in the downtown office. So I got down my home computer at 6 o'clock, wrote for an hour, went to work. And I mean, it's not the fastest process in the world, but it's consistent.
No,
by the end of a week, you've got a chapter, and by the end of the next week, you've got another one, and you know, so it goes.
Yeah, and I know that's what Wayne Dyer said to me was 4 a.m. was his time that he would get up, and I was like, oh man, but it's quiet then. The whole world is kind of quiet. You know, there's not a lot of people on the roads, like so it does get kind of silent, and it's kind of this like cool time. I'm just like, I'm not a morning person. I'm like, maybe if I stayed up till 4.
Whatever works for you. Yeah, night owls might have to do it that way, but yes, definitely.
I love it. So the career coaching program. Tell us more about what you create there and what people can get out of that as well.
Yeah, it's basically if you want to be a coach that helps other people find fulfillment in their work, whether that means in a different job or in a whole different career change, or I mean, I've coached people coming back from a year-long sabbatical and wanting to be taken seriously as a lawyer again. You know, people that had a tax fraud conviction and spent time in jail, and how do I transition them? You know, all kinds of situations. Those are fairly unusual, thank goodness. But you learn how to help people figure out what is it that I want to be when I grow up, even if I'm in my 40s and you know I'm figuring that out again. We call that authentic vocation. And then you learn coaching skills. We call our method the quantum shift coaching process. 70 different competencies, but it's basically how to have conversations in 3 levels of depth, transformation all the way to the core. And then all the job search mechanics. So it is a more specialized coaching credential than like life coaching, for example, because you need to know how to guide people in their resumes. You don't have to write them, but you have to know how to guide them in that, how to use LinkedIn effectively. Is 99% of recruiters will look at your LinkedIn profile before they even select you for an interview. Negotiating your salary package, and most women don't even bother with that. They just take what's offered. How much time should you be spending in the published versus the unpublished market based on your goals? And it does vary. All kinds of different ins and outs like that based on my textbook, which is now in its 3rd edition. 4th edition is coming out next year, called Career Coaching and Insider's Guide. So Career Coach Institute was created in 2001 as the first and leading career coach training company in the world. And we have thousands of graduates all over the world. So if you want to learn how to help other people, have a credential as certified career coach. We just started classes this week. There's still room to join us. And if you aren't listening in October of 2018, then we have an online option that's available most of the time. So just check out careercoachinstitute.com, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. But yeah, it just continues every single day. We have people logging on and opting in and requesting information because it's a hot field for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's people that don't have a certification in coaching, what I would love for people to do is at least know how to ask questions that get people to that. Because, I don't have a certification in coaching. However, I'm 12 credits shy of my master's in marriage and family therapy when I decided that's not where I wanted to go. And in that, I learned how to ask deep questions. I learned how to get people to go deeper. I learned how to connect with people. And I think just to hang a shingle and say, hey, I'm a coach, doesn't do anyone any good.
No, it doesn't.
So getting certified, having something behind you. And yeah, sometimes it's for the other person too. Sometimes it's the other side of the table. Somebody else wants you to be certified. If you want to be able to go into corporate places, you got to have something behind you. They're not just going to say, oh, you just hung your shingle. Great. Let's have you come in. Right. So I think it's really powerful to be able to have that. And it gives people a structure. I think, when I started coaching, I didn't have a structure. I didn't know I have a framework to take people through.
Right.
And so it took me a while to figure that out. But if you have something you can go from, it shortcuts so much of your results so you can get there faster.
It really does. And we've got a career coach's toolbox that we include that has over 30 forms, coaching contracts, and worksheets that you can use with your clients. Just put your information on them with a certain copyright attribution thing, and you're good to go. But, questions of a certain kind will take us in a downward spiral, and questions that are what Tony Robbins calls power questions will take us in a problem solving and a positive direction. And you need to know how to ask those kinds of questions of your clients. And I think we go through 5 different ways to make your questions more powerful as well. It transforms not just your business and your focus in life, but your actual life and your communications with everybody that you talk to once you know how to coach. And I had my 2 degrees when I found coaching. I thought, well, maybe pick up a few tools here and there. I didn't realize it was going to revolutionize the way I did my entire business, and it has.
Right.
So.
I love that. So tell us, you have this upcoming event. Dates, details, tell us about it, how people can register for it.
Okay, great. Yes. ConsciousClientAttractionLive.com. 3 days, November 8th, 9th, and 10th here in Phoenix. We are at a brand new hotel that hasn't even been open a year yet. So it's an amazing venue. And as of this moment, we have our super early bird pricing. So check that out. I won't quote that now in case it's changed by the time you see this, but sooner the better in terms of getting in. It's, we're supposed to change it Monday, and I've been on the road, so we haven't. So we get in on early bird pricing. So it's just going to be an amazing opportunity for, if you're a coach, a speaker, an author, or a healer, nutritionist, someone with a transformational message that wants to scale it to the next level and wants to do so in a community of conscious entrepreneurs.
I love that. So, and where else can people find you? Give us all your stuff so we know where like people can connect with you and find you and all of that too.
Sure. ConsciousExpertsAcademy.com is our marketing and manifesting side of our business. And so you'll find there's a free report as our gift to you, and a variety of different. We have an upcoming training happening at the end of October. We have a 5-day free challenge. It starts this next Monday that Erin has the link for. I think she'll post it at an appropriate place to help you clarify that micro niche for yourself. And then the other, careercoachinstitute.com is the other side of the business for the career coach training. And we, if you are interested, we can still get you into the class that just started a couple days ago if you would like, so that you can have those live coaching role plays and really get some real life critique on things that you're doing great and things that you can improve on. So
I
we welcome you.
So what's the last big juicy nugget you want to leave for us today?
I think the most important thing is, if you don't already know what your purpose is in your life and in your work, find it. We have some free tools at Career Coach Institute that will help you with that. In fact, I don't have the link for that, but I can get it to you. We have a 3-part audio series that I recorded at Hay House, which helps a lot of people with that process. As I think it took me 18 years. I don't want it to take you that long. It can take you 18 minutes. You can figure out what your purpose is so that you know what you're designing your work and your business and your livelihood around. And you feel like at the end of your life, the rocking chair test, did I use my talents well? You'll be able to say yes.
I love that. That's awesome. I think the people finding their own meaning and purpose is so huge. And I know sometimes it takes a long time for people to figure that out. And so having a transformational exercise to walk through could even light the way a little bit. So that's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I'm going to put all of those posts on Facebook Live first. I'll put that in the Facebook, as well as you can get that in the show notes as well. And I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to the Transformational Speakers Podcast, and we will see you